Hey everyone, this is Ashton here with MuseThemes.com. I'm excited today to introduce our Push Gallery widget. The Push Gallery widget creates a gallery here on your page, as we have here with these three thumbnails. And by clicking, we get this slide-in full screen display here filled with any content of our choosing. Now this is a really unique gallery to Muse because not only does it allow for a ton of media and information to display, since the windows here are shown full screen, so you can showcase a lot at once, but it also allows for mixed media, so you can set this up with images or video. And there's also a ton of styling power here because the full screen target windows are actually designed as separate pages in your Muse site. So anything that can be used in Muse already, you can use in your gallery here. And that's because this is one of our what we call design widgets, meaning that this Push Gallery widget is not a custom-coded widget we created from scratch, but rather we took previously existing widgets from both our library and from Muse, and pre-styled everything and packaged it all up so it's ready to go right out of the box. Let's jump over to Muse. Now, another way that this widget is very unique to our library is because when you download the widget from our site, you're not going to get the traditional mulib file for you to import into your library like you're probably used to. This entire widget is actually packaged up as a Muse project file, so it's going to look a lot more like a theme than a widget. You're going to open it up just like you would any other Muse project, and the result will give you exactly what you're seeing here. We're viewing this project now as a vertical sitemap, but you can also switch over to the horizontal if you choose. Now, why did we do it this way, you may wonder? Well, as I mentioned, the gallery target windows are built on separate pages in the Muse project, and we're using the core functionality of our Pushy Panes widget to slide them into view using that external page function. Many of you may remember the Versa slide widget, same functionality here. So since this widget requires elements reflected on various pages, we found it more efficient to provide you a project file that you can copy and paste elements from as needed, as opposed to trying to fit everything inside one crowded mulib file. Now, of course, you're not limited to using this project file here as your base. Most of you are going to want to incorporate this widget into another pre-existing site, so that's what we're going to do right now. I also have open here in Muse our build theme, completely unchanged, and we're going to incorporate our push gallery into our build theme in just a moment here. But first, let's go back to our push gallery, and let's take a look at the moving parts. Starting here with our top page housing our thumbnails. Inside here we have three thumbnails sitting side by side, created from pre-existing Muse elements. We basically just have state buttons with image fills, and they also have rollover states that you can customize by selecting any of them, and going up here to the States menu and selecting Rollover. And to coincide, we have three instances of our Pushy Panes widget, one per state button. So basically what's happening here is each of these state buttons act as an open button for the Pushy Panes widget. If I expand my graphic styles panel, I can select each of these and we can see a different graphic style applied to each. And if I jump inside one of my Pushy Panes, and I go under Open Button Setup, we can see a graphic style entered to match, and we have one for each button. Furthermore, in the Settings panel here, we have the Display External Page in Pane enabled, with the name of the page to display full screen. So that's how we're getting our target window that's sliding in. This one is called Project A, but we also have B and C, and of course however many you could possibly want. So let's jump out to our plan view. As we'd expect, we have a separate full page for each button, Project A, B, and C, and I can click into any one of these. And inside here we can fill this with just about anything that we want. Here we have some captions as well as a full screen slideshow placed, but this could be a video instead if you want, or literally anything you can come up with. Okay, so now that we understand the mechanics, let's go ahead and apply it to our website. Now the first step is I need to copy over the thumbnails and the Pushy Panes components. So let's jump back into that thumbnails page. And I'm going to select all of the Pushy Pane widgets and all of the thumbnails. And I can do this by holding down Shift on my keyboard as I click everything. You could also just use Command A or Control A on your keyboard to select all if you wanted to bring in the header text as well. But now that it's selected, we'll click Command C or Control C to copy. And now we're going to jump over to our build theme. I'm going to jump into the services page because there's a great little space here that we can set this up with. Here in the page body, we already actually have these little thumbnails set up here, so this would make a great spot for the widget. I'm going to select all of these that are already here and remove them. And now all I have to do is right-click on the page and select Paste in Place. And our new content pops up just like that. So now I can just move everything around a little bit and we'll center the images. And since we're working with regular state buttons here, we have complete creative freedom over the appearance of the buttons. So we can style them up to better match what was here before if we want to. I'll just go ahead and separate them a little bit and recenter them. And I can go ahead and add a large border radius to them as well, and we can turn them into circles. Perfect. Now we can select one of them, and I can double check our graphic styles menu, and you'll see that everything you need has already been copied over, so you don't have to make any changes there unless you plan to add more thumbnails. If you want to add more thumbnails, you just need a new unique graphic style for each one, as well as a new pushy pane component for each one. So we're pretty much all set up here. Let's jump out to the plan view and we'll create our target pages. Under the services page here, I can add 3 new pages by selecting this plus sign icon. There we go. And we can name them each Project A, Project B, and Project C. Now you can use whatever names you want for these pages, but just remember to make the proper change in the pushy pane's settings panels where it asks for the external link. And then the last step here, I'm going to right-click on each page, and under Masters, we're going to select No Master. The reason for that is because right now it's automatically pulling in our master page from down here, showing our header and footer for the website, and we don't want that in this case. So right now, we'll be working with completely blank pages. Perfect. So now you can build your own content from scratch if you wish, or we can just copy our content over from the Push Gallery project file and use it as our starting base. So let me jump back, and we'll click inside of Project A. And I'm just going to take all of this, so I'll hit Command A or Control A on the keyboard to select everything, and then Command C or Control C to copy. And we'll jump back over to our build theme. Click into the Project A page, and actually instead of just pasting it like normal, I can actually right-click on my mouse and select Paste and Create Breakpoints. And what this will do is create the breakpoints on this page to match our source page, which is a nice time saver. Now, as often happens with Muse, when you paste your content, some of it may land a bit askew, so a little bit of rearranging may be necessary. I'll just go ahead and line everything up here. And I think I had one little piece of text jump way down here, so I'll just grab that and move it back into place. And sometimes you may also find that the page height isn't enough to match, so you may just need to extend a bit of height on your page here after pasting everything, but in this case it looks like we're actually okay. And really quick, I can jump into my other 2 breakpoints here and just make sure everything is okay. Couple little adjustments here. And cool. All right, now let's jump out to our plan view. Now, of course, that is just one page. You are going to need to repeat those steps for the other 2 thumbnails, or however many you intend to have, but the process is the same. Now, before we give this a browser preview, I want to go back to the thumbnail page once more. And I want to mention once again to make sure that if you've changed any of the page names for the target windows, that it has to be reflected here in the Pushy Panes settings panel. We can open the panel here, and it's right down here for page URL. Now, as usual, all you need is the page name followed by .html. But do keep one thing in mind. I'm going to jump back to the plan view once more. What we did here is create these as sub-pages. So when you publish your site, your URL will actually read services/projecta.html. Now, it's not necessary to include that when you're just previewing the site locally, but when you publish your site, you're going to want to make that change in the settings panel. You just need to include everything in the URL except for the main.com website itself, like MuseThemes.com. So if I were uploading this to MuseThemes, the URL in the browser would read www.MuseThemes.com/services/project A. So for the settings panel, we'd include everything after the .com, in this case, services/projecta.html. And before we go, let's give this a browser preview. And since we're using multiple pages for our gallery, we need to preview the entire site, not just a single page. We'll navigate to Services. And we have our thumbnail sitting nicely right here. And I can give the first one a click, and everything flies in with ease. So that is our push gallery. Thanks again for checking this out. Make sure to have some fun, and if any issues arise, shoot us an email in support, and we'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again.